Hey everyone, this is Kyle from Mantic, and I just got back from the Wildcat Invitational tournament in Dayton, Kentucky, hosted by Jim Livers. I spent the day there on Saturday, hung out with them, and got to talk to some people. I was really interested that this is an invitational tournament, and this is Jim's second year of doing it, and I wanted to kind of go and hang out and check out the environment and the feel and the vibe of things, because an invitational tournament is a really rare thing in Kings of War. Typically, people are looking to host GTs, big two-day tournaments, and get to as many people and players as possible, make them Masters region qualifiers as an advertisement for out-of-region players to come into the event and compete and be involved and have scores that they can bring back and try to get into Masters and that sort of thing. And recently in the US, the Masters was maybe not the best experience that they've had in the past. I've gotten a lot of comments directed towards me with concerns around it. And what I see is that Kings of War as a game is in a very different place than what it was when I first joined in 2015, right at the start of second edition. And the game as we knew it, where we felt like, the experience that you could bring to the table, the models that you wanted to play with, the whole environment of what army was competitive and how you would play and the repetitions that you had with that list gave you an idea of what was enjoyable for Kings of War for you. And it was a very open book. And to me, I feel like things have changed pretty drastically over the past couple of years. COVID derails all kinds of things. But at the same time, I think that the game and the community are in a very different place. And I don't think that they need to be. I don't think that it has needed to grow in the direction that it needs to. And just some pretty open conversations and some resources for a lot of the players out there could probably change that. And so from Mantic's perspective, Ronnie came to me and said, I'd like you to get back in front of the camera again. I'd like you to spend time, especially on Fridays, to talk to the customers, get them involved with what's going on at Mantic, and to also listen to them and give them an avenue to get feedback into what we're doing. It's really important that we are listening to you guys. I think that as a company, Mantic really wants to know what its customers think. And that way we can give you what you want. We're trying to win our customer base over by doing what they want. And knowing what that is, especially with such a big game like Kings of War, is very important. It's important to me. It's been a huge part of my passion and everything that I do, both in employment and hobby time for years now. So it's a very big deal. And talking to Jim at this event, understanding why an invitational was important to him, talking to one of my trade accounts that was there and trying to get a feel for what's going on, what's working with Kings of War, or even some insight on how you guys could get Kings of War into stores and help the game grow in that sense. So sat down with him, asked him some questions, hung out for a little bit, and came back to do this. So let's dive in, let's take a look and see where that leads us, what's going on in the game today. And this will be a video series going forward, whether it's tactics, advice, articles, etc. We're going to do this together and we're going to figure it out so that we have a great place to move forward from. And I'd like for you guys to join me on the journey. So check it out and let's see how the Wildcat looks. So obviously the most important question for Jim is, what is the Wildcat and why an invitational?
Wildcat is an invitational tournament we hold here in northern Kentucky. We're in beautiful and exciting Dayton, Kentucky. It's an invitational tournament. It's just a tournament for friends to get together to have a great weekend. We like to play a day of doubles. Then we go ahead and we follow up with singles for 2 days. We give out a lot of prizes. We laugh with our old friends, and it's more about the camaraderie than anything else. People ask all the time, hey Jim, why are you doing an invitational tournament versus just an open enrollment tournament? And the answer is there's a certain caliber of player that we're looking for. It's not about who's winning all their games as much as who's a good guy to play against, who's fun, who is having fun with their opponents, they just represent all facets of the hobby. And sometimes invitationals allow us to, well, I mean, it's just so that the whole room is having a good time. Because one guy beating the brains out of 5 or 6 other people, and they're the only ones having fun, it's really not good it's not conducive for a long-term event.
I wanted to ask Jim what Mantic can do to help TOs run events. Is there any sort of support or extras we can do that really make a difference?
If a tournament organizer can partner with Mantic in any particular facet or area, one of the greatest ways they could help us would be like for these big tournaments, have a pre-release or at least an introduction of new models. What's on the books? What are they going to bring out? What's coming soon in the hobby? Because these are the players that would be very interested to hear about it, and it just adds to the excitement of all the new possibilities. And that's how we can partner better with Mantic in the future. Not to mention the tremendous support that Mantic has given our tournament, and we really appreciate it.
The next thing I want to know was what he was excited about coming up with the game.
Well, I'm excited to see the new Clash of Kings book. I'm kind of interested in seeing if there's going to be any new races or factions in the hobby. Don't let people try to tell you that you can't have the faction you want to have. Diversity is the key to life, man. You got to be in it. And if you want to play Ratkin, or if you want to play some kind of Abyssal, or you want the options, you know. And I'm understanding some groups of people, have the 2 or 3 army lists that they want to run, and that's it. I'm a big fan of diversity. Let's have a little something for everybody. But I'm really excited what new figs Mantic's going to come out with, because everyone loves to see them. And they've really come so far in their development. It's been great.
And with an invitational, how can you expand into the future? What are the plans for growing the event if you want to at all?
So people ask about expansion of the Wildcat. Absolutely. This year we had a change. We changed the dates. We're trying to accommodate as many people as we can. There's a lot going on this year. So we're going to go back to the original weekend of the 14th, 15th, and 16th of September next year, and it's going to be great. And we're gonna max out. We're going to go for a full 40 people, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular. And if you're even remotely interested in coming, we'd love to have you. Just ask, and we'll talk about it.
I realized after talking with Jim for just a bit that the thing that he was saying is that he just really wanted a room that had the environment and the feel, the energy that he was comfortable with. He kept using the words camaraderie, that he was this old group of friends, and these guys don't want to worry about someone coming in and really trying to dominate the event. They just want to get together and have fun playing Kings of War. And to me, this was really the whole thing that Kings of War was. Anyone could compete and play and be a good player, win a tournament, and if you want to come and win on paint or sports or overall, you could really kind of gear towards those things. And I think that we still have that, but it just begs the question, if something like this exists, then why does it need to? Next thing that we did is I wanted to sit down and talk to Dick, who runs the Golden Goblin in Pennsylvania, and he's one of our retail accounts. He's actually got a ton of Mantic. It's a great little store, and this guy really does love the game. So the fact that he's here and playing at a tournament is really exciting. wanted to sit down, ask him some questions about what's going on with the store and how he can help communicate to you guys how to get Mantic into stores as well.
So my name's Dick. I own the Golden Goblin in southern central PA. We're a wargaming store. We have video game stuff as well, but we're primarily like a wargaming store. If you ever want to play a game or you're in the area for a demo or something, stop by. We'll hook you up. We all have a ton of armies to let you use, so if you're in the area, let me know. Play a game.
It's always important for Mantic to have a grasp of what Kings of War is doing well, and especially so coming from their retail trade partners. And since Dick runs a store, I wanted to know his opinion on what Kings of War is doing well.
In my opinion, one of the things that Kings does well is it's just a very fun game to play. It's a very balanced game. I've played war games for a very, very long time. And it's like this game more than any others, it doesn't kind of matter where you are in a game. There's a likelihood that you can still pull out a win or a tie if you play well. And I think that's a thing that Kings offers that a lot of other games don't. Like we've all seen other war games where you're a turn or two in and it's pretty much over. Like just today, the first game I played, I was getting absolutely curb stomped and managed to pull out a win because I just kept it together, tried to play well. The units are all fairly well balanced. Just overall like a really great game.
A lot of people play Kings of War in shops or in basements and homes and don't ever come out to tournaments. So as a store owner, I wanted him to give insight on if he saw a difference in competitive play at a tournament or what happens in his store.
So as far as competitive play, like I do come to events. We're at an event right now that I drove 7 hours to attend and would do every year they ever hold this because I think it's great community. As far as competitive play, like I don't really notice a massive difference between coming to an event like this to play competitively and playing just friendly games in the shop. I mean, the community is pretty much the same everywhere. Games are friendly, people are fun. There's generally not a lot of jerks that play the game. The armies are generally fun, and overall I think it's just a pretty good experience whether you're playing competitively or at your kitchen table in your house. So yeah, it's just great.
And this last one is actually really important to my job, but I wanted to ask Dick how a customer can get their store owner to consider carrying Mantic.
So if you're looking to start into Kings of War and you want to approach an owner of a store or something to get like a community started, probably the best thing you could do is get them to play the game. I think most people realize after a game or two that it's a good system. Mantic has a bunch of great figures to get you started, but it's also miniature agnostic, which makes it a lot easier to get people involved. Like if they already have some stuff, they can throw that together and get a game going. And I think it makes it a lot more approachable than other systems are, because a lot of other systems have, like they might have weird bases or weird scales or something like that that makes it difficult to start. And Kings is pretty great because there's like a ton of ways to get your foot in the door. And I think that would be my recommendation is get the store owner to play or someone that he trusts to play, or get him to watch a game even if you can't get him to play. And I think most people will see the appeal immediately because it's just easy to get into as far as war games go compared to other systems.
After talking to Dick, I felt like this Kings of War tournament was pretty much the same sort of experience that I've seen at other ones, even major GTs, Masters, Adepticon, Clash of Kings, anything that I've been to, whether it's domestic in the US or international. The feel and camaraderie of the game was really there, regardless of it being an invitational. And I think it's an important discussion to have that these players felt like they needed to have an invitational in the first place. So are we maybe projecting something that might not even be there? Is there an intimidation factor or an idea of winning at all costs and building the perfect list, or your list isn't competitive enough if you want to take certain things, and projecting that a little bit too much? Maybe social media does it, maybe Universal Battle does it. List tweaking and the way we ask for feedback and critique on lists and social media is maybe pushing towards this perspective that Kings has two different crowds. It has the player base that wants to just enjoy the game and the player base that is really out to win no matter what. And it's an important discussion to have because I felt that Kings of War was the best possible game it could be at a point in time when you could play whatever you want. And the belief was that if you played it well, if you actually piloted your list well, you could do whatever you want. And that competitive nature of I'm just good, I can just play the game well, I understand the game well, I see it well, and I'm not going to be a dick about it, is something that we may have lost or may have just been lost in translation throughout everyone being separated and being online and so much more happening in that space. So this is my attempt to see and show if maybe that notion is not what we thought it was, and that King's War is actually still a really good experience and something that people should feel welcome at, regardless if you play in the basement or if you play at a competitive level. And you can come out to events and enjoy these things just the same, because from what I saw, the experience at the Wildcat was very similar to every major GT experience that I've seen, top to bottom. It's the same kind of thing. So I think that tells us where Kings is, and it's in a better place and a more comfortable place than we really might imagine. So stay tuned with what's coming up in the future, guys. We've got lots of interesting things. I'd love to do tactics videos and show things, at least from my perspective. I'd love to give you some background information. I was really excited to sort of give some sneak peeks of the upcoming book to the guys of the Wildcat Invitational. And I even showed a couple of model previews of things that are coming up and just sort of kept it on my phone. So I want you guys to feel like you have an in and an insight to what's happening. We'll work together with our marketing teams to make sure that we have the right stuff shown at the right times, and that we have fun with it, and that Kings of War is an open door between community and company as much as possible. So thanks for checking the video out, and stay tuned. These are going to be a weekly thing. So thanks, guys.